okay if you believing that the Earth is a globe, but as long as you make sure you're staying honest.
Well, the mistake is we don't believe the Earth is a globe. The evidence is extremely strong, right?
Well, you think that, but don't we also think that the evidence is extremely strong for our position?
No. No.
We just believe shit with no evidence.
Right. The strongest evidence you have of the Earth being flat is where you stand right now, and you look out in the distance. It looks flat.
So you think we're crazy?
You cannot use optics to determine the shape of something. You use physical measurements.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was his point.
Yeah, because I've never used that argument. Thank you very much. Okay, well, I use arguments of physical measurements of Earth's flatness.
Flat doesn't have an SI unit, so you cannot measure something flat. That's your first problem. No, you cannot measure something.
That sign's not curved, and that means it's flat.
You cannot measure something. Oh, so you're going after the curve. No, measure it flat. Give us the measure. That's what we want.
If we multiply the radius. Sorry.
I was gonna say, what if we try and measure it curved and we can't?
Good one.
What are you trying to measure? Are you trying to measure it curved?
No, I'm saying, say I took you out, right? In my little Vespa, right? Say I went and rented a Vespa. I drove by your house. I was like, "Yo, Bubba Clot, hop in," right? And then we go and try and measure a curve, and then we don't find one. What do you think? Do you think it's flat then, or do you think, oh, we just need to measure harder?
Yeah. Because you going to, in order for you to claim it's flat, you have to give us the dimensions of your flat plate.
No, I just asked a simple question, man. I said, if we went out to measure the curve and we couldn't find it, would you say, oh shit, there's no curve? Or would you say, we have to measure this harder?
It's not a measure harder, What it is in order for you to say your Earth is flat, you need...
No, I just asked the question, man.
Okay, is your floor in your living room flat? Is your floor in your living room flat? Yes or no?
Yes, it looks flat.
What are the dimensions of it? Give me the exact dimensions. Otherwise, I'll say it's a ball.
Yes, I can give you. I think it's 700 feet by another. No, sorry.
700 feet. 700 feet.
So if I don't know the dimensions of my floor, I can't say it's flat.
70.
That's a big fucking room.
Oh yeah. My living room is big.
700 foot.
It's not 700. It's not 700. It's more like hold on. The living area is 20 by 25. I think it is. That's what it is. It's huge.
Okay. Well, yeah. So let's say you didn't know the dimensions of your floor. Does that mean it's suddenly not flat? If you can take a tape measure and measure for a while and see that it's flat and you haven't found any curvature, that should mean it's flat until you find curvature. You can't say that's a globe.
No, you can't do that. You can't stop. You need your dimensions of your flat Earth in order to say it is flat. You need it.
Okay. 25,000 miles across. There you go. From icefall to icefall, 25,000 miles across. Thanks for explaining. The Earth is flat.
All right, there you go. So you measured 25,000 miles over?
Well, that's what the distance from one side of Antarctica, going up north, then down south again to the other side. That's what it would be on both a globe and a flat Earth, with the longitude lines.
No, impossible. In order for your Earth to be flat, your latitudinal lines are larger all the way to the edge.
Okay, what is latitude and what is longitude?
Right, so your latitude lines are going to be bigger as you approach the edge.
That's why I said longitude, because the longitude lines don't get bigger.
If you claim 25,000 miles, that means you're stopping at the equator. If you're going around it. Yes. The circumference of the equator is 24,000 miles. Yes, sir. Yes. So that's why you're stopping. You're stopping at the equator.
That's measuring latitude. I'm talking longitude.
No,
from the north.
And then I'm going to call you. I'm going to say you're not telling the truth. Your longitudinal line on your flat plane is going to be more than 25,000 miles. It has to spread out.
Why would the longitude line have to spread out? So the longitude line on a globe and a flat Earth. So for a globe, you take, you could start at the North Pole on the globe, stretch it down south, wrap around go to the South Pole, go back up north on the other side, and then reach the North Pole. That's what you would get your latitude line all the way around. On a flat Earth, you'd start at one edge of the ice wall, go up north. Once you reach north, start going south again. Then once you reach the other end, that's your measurement. Okay, same thing on the globe and flat Earth. Latitude is what's different on the globe and flat Earth.
All right. Oh, you say, okay, yes, the longitude straight down from the north to the south, yes, that would be 25,000. Yes.
So you agree with that?
Yeah, but that's a straight shot.
Okay.
Now, what, when we say we want your flat Earth, right?
Yeah.
That means, hold on, that means there is a circumference for your Antarctica. Because of the ice ball. So now you're gonna have to now give me that dimension now.
Okay, is falsification independent of replacement? Do you agree or disagree with that?
No, I'm only interested in.
Well, I'm just asking a question so that you can understand this.
I'm just interested in your dimensions. In order
independent of replacement.
In order for you to tell us and confirm that your Earth is flat, you need to give us all of the dimensions.
Is falsification independent of replacement?
And when did you measure that 25,000 miles? Because remember,
is falsification independent of replacement? Yes or no?
Hold on.
So if we falsify the globe, do we have to replace everything?
Wait. Are you seriously saying that you don't have to teach flat Earth? Because you're just falsifying flat. You're falsifying globe, and you're done.
It's like if I find out my parents adopted me and they're not my real parents. I don't have to tell you who my real parents are in order to know that those aren't my real parents.
Yeah,
we measured that the Earth is flat. We haven't found curvature, and so, okay, if you want to say I need to give you the dimensions from what the world that we're we're allowed to explore, I will say it's flat. Okay, you could say that there might be curvature beyond Antarctica, which that sounds kind of ridiculous, but basically from what we've observed, we have not found any curvature. So something that's not curved is flat.
Okay,
Can I just really ask about the curvature real quick here? Can somebody who's flat in here explain to me why the horizon would not curve on a flat Earth? Because
is that for flat?
Yeah.
So you're asking why the horizon wouldn't curve on a flat Earth?
Yeah.
It doesn't curve.
No, I'm asking why it wouldn't on a flat. It wouldn't a flat Earth as well, because even if you allow yourself maximum view distance, like you rank that up, like you can watch forever, then obviously, like sort of a circular shape would look like it goes down on both sides when you look straight towards the horizon. So like kind of like a coin, right? It curves, and
yeah.
So you might say, oh, but our vision is limited, so we can't really see all the way to the edge, so we don't see the curvature of the flat Earth. But then you would have like a restricted viewing distance in all directions you look at. So let's say you can max see 5 feet, for example. Well, that would still be a circle around you, so that would still curve down at your lines of sight. So if it is a circular flat Earth, then you would totally expect curvature at the horizon, regardless of or not.
You don't use optics to determine the shape of the Earth, really. So, like,
do you agree, though?
I don't think. But you do see a circle of vision. You have a limited vision, and that it's usually a circle around you. So what sometimes people say is curvature is actually the limit to the circle of their vision. It does look like curvature, but it's like looking at a hole.
Then we see the curvature, then.
No. So you don't see super large curvature, if it was like drastic curvature, then it wouldn't be explainable on a flat Earth, except with fisheye lenses and stuff like that. But what usually when people see the small amount of curvature, it's just like very small, and it doesn't have to be a globe. It can be explained easily with the circle of vision. So, but yeah, we don't use optics to determine the shape of the Earth, because optics are really optical to say. So yeah, I use physical measurements of Earth's curvature, like of Earth's surface, like with radio waves and stuff like that. But I have to go now. But
yeah. But the thing is, the point that you're missing is you cannot use your longitudinal lines either, because the Earth is flat. That means the distance from the center going up, what you would call up, or going opposite direction, the longitudinal lines would be the same. So you, on your flat Earth, if you're going to choose 24,000 miles, you're going to have to multiply that by 2. And nowhere on Earth do we travel 48,000 miles. Nowhere.
okay, no. Actually, from the center to one edge would be half of 24,000. On the globe, from the center to one side of to the South Pole, from the North Pole to the South Pole, that's half of 24,000. If you combine the globe fully, then it equals 24,901. If you combine the flat Earth, which I'm not sure the exact dimensions, but let's just go with it. If you combined from edge to edge, that would be basically the same. You just have to wrap it around the ball. But
no. So again, remember what I told you. You're stopping at the equator. If you want to use a 24,000 miles, you're stopping at the equator, and that doesn't make any sense. There's lands past it. If you go beyond that, if you go beyond that,
onto his model. That's what he's doing. He's forcing me onto his model.
Right, and his model don't make sense. You don't have a dimension.
You are forcing him onto your model to justify. Saying, all right.
No.
You're on a ball.
Right.
And it's flat.
No, but that's his fault. He borrowed the longitudinal lines. And that's why I said to him, if you're going to use the longitudinal lines, then you're only stopping at the equator. And he's in trouble.
Why? Why aren't we only stopping at the equator? The longitude lines extend all the way down from the center, from the North Pole to the South Pole and back around again to the North Pole.
No, so if you do that, that's 48,000 miles.
Why?
On the globe, from the North Pole to the South Pole, that's 12,000. When you come back around again, that's your 24,000. For you, your plate is flat. So the North Pole for you is in the middle. Therefore, going out from both directions is 24,000 miles to the south. So the size of your plate is 48,000 miles if you're going to use longitudinal lines. So you're going to have to get away.
From the distance to the North Pole to the edge is 12,000 miles. From the distance to the edge to the North Pole, then to the other edge is 24,901.
Right. So again, see, so you're changing. I'm telling you what you're saying. If you're going from your North Pole to the edge, right, on your plane, that's only 12,000 miles, right? Sorry. That's 12,000 miles, and then from the North Pole to the other edge, right? That's 12,000 miles. That means if you're using longitudinal lines, that means the circumference of your flat plane will be a total of 48,000 miles in circumference.
Why? 12,000 plus 12,000 equals 24,000. If you got from edge to edge, that's 24,000 miles, not 48. I don't know where you're getting the extra 24,000. I don't really understand what you're saying.
Because the circles get bigger.
But we're not talking about the bigger circles. We're talking about longitude, which is lines, not circles.
Your Earth is flat. Remember, your Earth is flat. You're
But we're not talking
squashed out.
about latitude. We're talking about longitude.
No. But what I'm saying, if you're going to borrow the longitudinal lines, you are now locked into a 48,000 mile circumference. That's what I'm trying to say to you. You cannot use our longitudinal lines. You need something else.
Why do you mean something else? I agree that past the equator, that's where things start getting discrepancies, and that's actually where we start observing
Yes.
weird things happening in the south, like with the cruise ships and boats and plane flights. They start getting weird, and of course the southern hemisphere flights that you guys like to claim as a home run for your model actually debunks the globe once you go into it. But we won't talk about that right now. But yeah.
But it doesn't anyways. Everything locks in. Everything checks out. I mean, you are the one that has to tell us where you have traveled a circumference of 48,000 miles. You're going to have to do that. Your circumference, you've squashed your Earth. You've opened it out. So your latitudinal lines, which it exists. There are bigger circles as you go up. The equator itself, in reality, is 24,000 miles in circumference. So as you keep going south, those circles are bigger on a flat plane. And you're going to end up with 48,000 miles by the time you get to the south.
Oh, yeah, that's
And what's
true.
wrong with that?
That is
No,
true.
brother, what's wrong with that is that nowhere on Earth have we traveled more than 24,000 miles.
How do you know that? Have you done it? Have you verified?
Okay, sorry, I haven't been to Siberia. Siberia doesn't exist. Thank you very much.
I never said that. I never said that. Okay, so how can you verify your distance? How do you verify distance?
Just because I haven't done it, that means it hasn't exist. I'm going to argue with you that Siberia doesn't exist right now.
I'm not saying
You have
that.
to let him talk. Let him talk to
What's that?
Robert. WordSalad asked you a question.
Okay.
I'm just saying, just because I haven't done something doesn't mean it has not been done. You cannot use that as an argument. That's a
We're not
fact.
saying that.
That's foolishness. I am
We're not
saying
saying
is that look it up. We have traveled the circumference of our globe, and we've traveled only 24,000 miles. Right? If you look at the trajectory of the ISS, for example, it sees a sunrise every 90 minutes. That matches the circumference of the Earth. Do the
But
math.
speed equals distance over time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Speed equals distance over time. So if they're traveling a faster speed in the south, like with airplanes, for example, they admittedly use jet streams. You could complete the same amount. In the air, you can't really verify your distance except by speed. And if you have a certain speed you're traveling, but you have jet streams aiding you along, which the jet streams are admittedly way faster in the south, then of course you would get the same results. So yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So check this out. Have you are passenger planes flying 1,000 miles per hour when they're traveling from Brazil to Chile?
Jet streams, do you know what those are?
The jet streams are traveling from west to east. So,
They travel both directions. They admittedly can change directions at different
What does
altitudes.
that matter? Compared to
it doesn't matter. What are you talking about?
Jet streams change direction, so they go both directions. So it doesn't matter what direction you're flying, you can still catch jet streams.
You
And
measured
jet
it
streams,
from the
if
ground.
you have an airplane traveling a certain speed, like say 600, if you have a jet stream going 250 miles an hour, the airplane will not factor that because they cannot detect that.
No jet stream knocks you out 1,000 miles per hour, brother. None. Sorry to tell you. There are no jet stream that clocks you out an additional 500 miles per hour. None.
Planes fly over 600 miles an hour, first of all.
Exactly.
Second, there are jet streams that go up to 350 miles an hour.
No,
Wow.
no, that's not true.
But you can. There's literal documents about
They only
it.
go west to east.
Excuse me.
No, they go both
Why not
directions.
matter?
No, they don't go both ways.
They change directions at different altitudes, admittedly.
Why does this
Admittedly, by
matter?
who?
Can somebody please explain why that matters in terms of distance relative to the ground?
Right.
Because if you're flying a plane, then you're flying a certain speed. The jet stream will carry you along an additional speed, but the airplane cannot detect the jet stream. Like it's like you're traveling through a current of water, but an airplane can't detect the jet stream. So like you're moving at a certain speed, but the jet stream is also carrying you along an additional speed.
Sure, but your speed is relative to the ground, not relative to the air around you, right? So you.
Yes. That's my point. Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to measure it.
You would via any ground station ever.
What?
If you measure like 2 different time points from a ground station to an airplane, why wouldn't you be able to? Why would the jet stream matter at all?
Because like the Globers like to say that because the distance from the 2 places in the southern hemisphere are similar to the ones in the north, because on a flat Earth it starts spreading out instead of converging. The Globers use that as a home run, but I'm explaining that.
It is a home run.
That is true. Though.
Yeah, well, I'm destroying your little home run.
No, you're not.
You can't.
Yes, I'm talking about jet streams.
Okay.
You can't debunk them.
Yeah, the jet stream. Okay, yeah, sure.
The jet stream does not give you an additional 400 miles per hour, brother. Stop that. Why?
It gives you 350 miles.
And
350. I mean,
No, it didn't even move that fast. Come on.
350 miles per hour
You're
additional.
traveling like a like a Category 5 hurricane. Sure, yeah.
Well, you guys realize that we measure airplane speed not only from the aircraft itself, right? So it not knowing that it's in a very, very fast jet stream doesn't matter at all. Like, you have things pinging airplanes all the time to measure from ground. So
But you're also assuming the Earth is a globe, and you're assuming the circumference of the globe, so it's basically reverse engineering it. It's begging the question.
Wait, are you saying that planes don't ride jet streams to go faster? Because they've been doing it the whole time for me. I've been flying from Canada to the United States over and over and over. Okay, so make sure you're not saying that.
From LA to New York, yeah, you gain a little help from the jet stream, but not what he's thinking.
Yeah,
But the 600 miles per hour, that's what I've seen. Yeah, our plane go up to.
Yeah, planes have been clocked going 300. I forgot the distance, but they've been clocked going like very, very fast using jet streams, way faster than
Normally it's like 399, 369. It's normally what you'll see a plane flying at around 39,000 feet. That's what I've been seeing normally on all of my planes the last like 8 flights in the last 6 months. But when they're running behind and they try to catch up, they will find these jet streams on purpose so they can get there faster. Okay, and that's when they went about 600 miles per hour, give or take.
Exactly. And that is not the speed of sound. The speed of sound is 700 miles per hour, right? So the jet stream to travel in the south, aircrafts would be clocking faster than the speed of sound to travel.
And what's the problem with that?
And yet they don't travel faster than the speed of sound. And here's the thing. Here's the other
I
thing.
do not.
Only fighter jets and supersonic,
Yeah.
special aircraft, but not the
But
regular.
if you're inside, it's like if
regular
you're
passenger.
inside a current of water, you're not traveling. The air is traveling, so it's like if you're being stationary relative to it. But then you have your additional speed that you're flying through that. So altogether, that equals maybe the speed of sound, quote unquote.
Sound, yes, they'll be going faster. Almost 1,000 miles per hour, brother. No, look it up, my friend. No aircraft is.
Okay, wait. Did you just say 700? Those are the speed of sound. So you're talking about only 100 miles per hour more than they'd hit that jet stream with me to try to pick up some of the time that they were leaving behind. Listen, when they did that, the extra like 399 to 600, you don't really feel that. You don't notice that one whatsoever. It's just like they're doing 399 miles per hour. Ain't no difference.
So how come we don't notice sonic booms all the time from just commercial jets?
Oh, I'm not saying that though. Oh no.
Because you're inside a jet stream. The jet stream is moving, so it's like you're swimming.
Yeah, but no. On the ground, you would still hear it.
Ground.
Ground, relative to the ground.
Yeah.
No.
To the ground.
No, because you have your speed. You have your speed plus the jet stream speed. Both those together wouldn't make a sonic sound because
hold on.
It's like if you have
aircraft. But
it's like if you have
would be.
If you have water moving such a fast sound, water moving at a fast speed, and then you're like, oh, if it was moving extra fast, you would hear it. But then if you have water moving and then you moving an additional speed in the water, you wouldn't hear anything. You wouldn't hear a whatever you call a sonic
wave.
sound.
No. The pressure wave of sound, even in a moving jet stream, doesn't follow along the speed of the jet stream. It moves like a ripple through the medium. So it doesn't matter if the air is like following along a jet stream or not. You would still hear a sonic boom from the ground.
Oh, yeah,
That's what I was wondering, because I swore I heard someone talk about this off flight, that they actually have heard something like this. I am not saying this is factual, obviously not.
Well,
It was word of mouth.
No, they used to hear it when it was the French aircraft. What was it called? I forget. Yeah. But from fighter jets and stuff, they don't.
Yeah.
Passenger airlines don't do that now. And here's the thing: the jet streams level that passenger airlines flying at, they're closer to the troposphere, and those are only 80 to 100 miles per hour, right? So the ones that are traveling at higher speeds are higher altitudes. Those can get up to 300, 400 miles per hour. So aircrafts are not traveling at these 700, 800 miles per hour. They would be clocking the speed of sound instantaneously all the time. And we don't get that in the south.
I'd like to see it, though. I mean, the fact that one did it like 600, it's only 100 more, give or take. It's like, there was nothing really going on to the plane. Nothing was really hurting us. I mean, what would make a difference? It's only 100 miles per hour more. To me, that it sounds like it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Because these fighters just do it, and now we have regulations basically in place.
If you're inside something that's moving and you're also moving, those two things don't combine together and make a sonic boom. It's like if you're stationary. It's like if you're just moving your regular speed, and then the thing itself is moving. It's not going to combine. It's like if you're moving through a current in water, and you're also moving in the current.
Explain the Sydney to Santiago de Chile flight, WordSalad.
Jet streams. Thanks for flying.
They don't know. That's wrong. Jets. So what about the other way? What about Santiago to Sydney?
There's jet streams going both ways. They change directions.
No, wrong.
Admittedly, at different altitudes.
Admittedly by who?
By government.
Oh, really?
You can find actual government documents talking about it.
Sure.
They don't talk about it anymore, but they used to.
And according to you, you could jump off the Earth and it spins away from you.
I don't say that. That's a strong.
Yeah,
well, I know that's not what
That's what you guys say.
I don't know. Some flat earthers say that. I've actually been trying to correct flat earthers. I have a video on my channel talking about how flat earthers need to stop using certain arguments, and I'm gonna keep making them because I don't like the way flat earthers do that.
So how do you guys think?
I've never made that argument.
All right. So how do you guys think hurricanes spin if jet streams aren't going in different directions?
Coriolis effect. That's why they spin one way in the northern hemisphere and one way in the southern hemisphere.
They don't always spin one way. There's been storms that have. Wait. There's been storms that have spun the same. Like, first of all, the same different directions in the same hemisphere. Second, you got the storm sometimes rotating like clockwise in one hemisphere, but in the same hemisphere you got a whirlpool rotating counterclockwise.
The one that hit Louisiana and the one after that hit Florida, wasn't those the ones that were having followed the radar and they were also spinning both ways? If I remember right. I could be wrong. I'm just asking a question right now. Damn!
You're just excusing it because it doesn't match your model.
They only spin one way in the northern hemisphere.
Yeah, that's what the mainstream says. That's what mainstream says. But have you actually spent time on weather data and looked at hurricanes and stuff like that?
Let's make it let's just bring it down to something very simple. Why is it that when you look up in the night sky in the northern hemisphere, the stars rotate counterclockwise, and in the southern hemisphere they rotate clockwise? Explain that on your.
I'll take this one. I'll take this one. I love this argument actually, and I struggled on this for a while because flat earthers have said, "Oh no, it's just direction, counterclockwise versus clockwise."
Direction.
Yeah, it's not. I'll actually steel man your argument for you. The argument is when you look at when you're in the northern hemisphere, you see one rotation rotating a certain direction. Then you go south. Then there's another. Then even if you go like to Australia, or South America, or Africa, and you're all looking south, you see the same stars rotating around a central point when you're looking different directions, and that does not work with one star field going all the same direction. So what actually, I struggled on this for a while, but
doesn't matter which way you're looking.
South.
Do you have a link to your channel, WordSalad?
It's called Shifting the Goalpost.
No, I want to hear this guy's explanation.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually post on this, but I actually think that the southern stars are reflections of the northern stars, because I first scoffed at the idea.
Hold on.
Then I looked at it. You can actually take the southern stars, mirror them, and overlay them with the northern stars.
Okay, hold on a second. You can't. It's not a reflection, because there's different stars that you can have in the southern hemisphere that you cannot see in the northern hemisphere, such as the Southern Cross, which you cannot see.
The Southern Cross, if you take it and put it in a 3D grid and rotate it towards yourself, it turns into the constellation Cassiopeia if you rotate it towards yourself.
You're on like fucking blotter acid, dude. Okay, I said a simple thing. You're in the northern hemisphere, the stars rotate counterclockwise. You're in the southern hemisphere, they rotate clockwise. That cannot happen on a flat Earth. It's impossible.
If you have, think about a fan on your ceiling, okay?
Yeah, okay, that's a great example. I'm glad you brought up the fan on my ceiling.
Okay, now listen. You got a fan on your ceiling, then you have a window or something like that, some sort of reflection thing on your wall. If you look at that, it's going to rotate the opposite direction, but it's going to be mirrored.
What window is in the? What are you talking? What window? Talking about the sky.
The firmament.
There's no firmament. Where is it? No one's seen it. No one's touched it. Is that where?
Yeah, look up Operation Donomic and Operation Fishbowl.
Oh God, dude,
Just look them up.
It's like the bottom of the barrel. You know, it's like thousands of years of the most brilliant minds in the history of the world versus it doesn't
wait. No, you're the one saying I basically said you can overlay the northern stars with the southern stars.
There's no overlaying.
If you rotate take a video from the northern hemisphere, mirror it, so you're gonna flip it and rotate it 180 degrees, and you can overlay it with the video of the southern stars rotating, and it's a bit skewed, but it matches the same. And also, you can take the constellation Cassiopeia in the northern hemisphere, and the constellation the Southern Cross. They're in the same relative place in their hemispheres, close to like the central point of rotation. And you can take Cassiopeia, put it in a 3D grid, rotate it towards yourself, and it turns into the Southern Cross. Coincidence? I think not.
I have no idea what you're saying. It doesn't make any sense. And so
basically, you can find.
You're saying there's a glass dome over the Earth?
No, not a glass dome.
Well, what is it then?
The Bible describes the sky as being strong and as a reflective glass.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, you don't like... You just swore... You just used Jesus' name in vain. That's wrong, too. Okay,
well, I'm using his name as his name.
He's one flat earther.
You said, "Oh, Jesus Christ." You said that.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
his
weren't,
name.
You weren't talking to Jesus, I know that.
Jesus Cristo, that's his name. I say his name all the time. What does that have to do with it?
That's taking his name in vain.
I don't give a shit what I'm doing. It's stupid.
Okay, well then if you could be right that there is no God.
Let's look at another example.
If you're
right,
wait,
there's no
if
God.
If you're right that there's no God,
he doesn't respect the name Jesus Christ.
I'm not talking about God or the Bible. I'm talking about the Earth. You want to bring up some firmament.
I use the Bible to show you one piece of evidence that walks. Yes, because
the Bible says that Moses parted the Red Sea. I'd like to see that happen again.
Yeah, because you can't do that unless you have God.
Yeah, show me where the seas are,
bro.
They were parted and then they went back together again. You need someone
to nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Yes, it does, because the Bible talks about the earth, and the Bible is the inspired word of God.
Nowhere does the Bible
say the person who created this realm, this earth,
the Bible does not say the earth is flat.
Yeah, it wouldn't. The Bible doesn't say the earth is flat because everyone knew it was flat. It says that is he that sits above the circle of the earth. It says that. What?
Let's go over another simple example it's so simple that a grade schooler can understand it. Explain a sunset on your flat
Okay.
Earth.
Great. Okay, so you've ever seen
Why wouldn't the sun change shape,
It's such new. Holy
angles,
shit.
resolution, and size? Why did it stay exactly the same size and go all the way down below the horizon?
Okay. Okay,
Oh,
so
and during the
try this
winter,
experiment. Sorry, go ahead.
we're a million miles closer, it doesn't change either.
Okay, well, yeah, so try this experiment where you put
That 3 million
put
miles
three,
is negligible.
okay. I'm gonna destroy this, okay? Put 3 balls on the floor, put or in a line, okay? We're gonna just do a thought experiment. You can do this in reality later, but so put 3 balls on the floor. Yeah, it doesn't matter what color. Then lay your head down next to them. The one in the back will appear the smallest, right? So now rise up and look at them from above. They will all be the same angular size.
And how close do they have to be
The
for that
sun
to
is
work?
farther away, so it doesn't change size as much, because when it travels across the sky, it's not covering as much of a distance.
Does it travel throughout the sky?
What, the Earth rotates?
Yeah, once a day, every 24 hours.
Yeah, well, you have yet to provide evidence for that. But anyway,
I don't need to provide. You need to provide evidence. I don't need to provide evidence.
the default position is that the Earth is a stationary topographical plane.
That is not the default position. That's
Do you ever account for curvature or motion in any of your everyday observations?
You don't need to because the Earth is so big. You
Okay, so you're admitting
you
it's the
guys are so
default position.
mentally. You guys have
You're
the mental
admitting it's the
capacity of a
default
fucking donkey. You don't even understand that over 660 feet, the curvature is about 1/8 of an inch.
Okay, so you're admitting that the default position is
No, that is not.
station.
Because you
Okay,
don't.
name what is the default?
I'm
Why
not
do you
going to talk to you, dude. You're so you have the mental capacity of a fucking donkey, man.
Well, thank you. I mean, at least the donkey knows the Earth is flat. But yeah,
No, they don't. They're smart enough to understand this.
How does a donkey sound?
yeah, sorry about that, but
Fucking.
yeah. So basically, yeah,
Oh,
I've been asking for
Are you
a long
a 9/11
time.
truther too?
I've been asking for a long time.
Who is this wrong?
Can you provide any exclusive evidence that Earth is orbiting around the sun?
Thousands. You just look up at the fucking sky. It's so simple to know.
No, you see the stars and
Make the
sun
question.
move, and that proves that they're not moving, but we're moving.
Didn't think so.
Did he leave?
Well, Robert's still here.
I'm not
wonder
even talking to you
Yeah,
anymore because
can you name
it's
one?
so stupid. Have we been to space? Have we been to space?
Space doesn't prove that the
Have
Earth
we?
never debated
What
around
space?
the sun.
What is space?
Because they actually. Sorry, I think I'm talking too much, but yeah.
Oh no, you're fine, sweetheart. Too. I mean, you just like we've been to space. Like you just claim in space. Where's space? Where's this line at? And have we been
Well,
there?
even-
Can you tell?
Sorry.
Oh my god.
Even with space.
These guys are just.
Wait, when they launch their rockets into orbit, they actually account for Earth-centered, Earth-fixed coordinate system. They account for the angular momentum of a cosmos rotating around a stationary Earth, and they account for curved paths, which in your model is straight lines. They account for changing the speed of light. So all those things work with the geocentric Earth, but they don't work with the heliocentric Earth. So if you're trying to bring that up to
Bro,
prove
this guy,
We've known
this
heliocentrism
guy
since
memorized
the
all
16th
of
century.
arguments.
Oh, so just appeal to authority, appeal to consensus. Like you aren't
Dude,
providing evidence. You're just
It's a
saying,
waste of
oh,
time
we've
to
known
talk
it.
to you. It's a waste of time.
Can you
because
provide any exclusive evidence? Something
I don't
that
need
would
to provide
only
any
work
evidence. You
with
need to
yours.
provide the evidence. You're making
Okay,
the positive claim.
every experiment ever showed the Earth was stationary. Okay, name
No,
one
wrong.
experiment that proves Earth is revolving around the sun. One.
So, day and night.
That doesn't prove Earth revolves around the sun.
Of course it does.
You think that does day and night is orbiting?
Why do you think that
Okay, so
you
Earth
have day?
the sun causes day and night. Do you think that that's what it is?
The
Day and night
Earth
is one
turning
year.
is day.
Can you guys,
Day and
can
night
you
is
guys
one
slow down
year.
a little? Can I address Robert?
Sorry. Sorry.
Yo, Robert. I don't know if I'm a little bit delayed. But you know when like someone walks by you with a flashlight at night and you're like bright for a little bit and then not bright, do you think you fell because you're not bright anymore when he walked by?
I have no idea what you just said.
Like if someone walks by you with a light or like drives by you with their lights on, right? And you're in the dark, right? And the car brightens you, and then you're in the dark again once it leaves. Does that mean that you fell backwards because you can't see the light anymore?
What the fuck are you talking about? No,
Basically saying that
there's no more light on you. There's no more photons hitting you.
You're basically saying you can't tell which one is moving. Like if you see things in the sky move, that doesn't prove we are moving.
A salad boy. Yeah, back in the 15th century, we figured out heliocentrism because they didn't understand.
That doesn't prove that we figured out heliocentrism. You have to provide the evidence for it. Back 20 years ago, I found out that Superman exists. Okay, and that means Superman
doesn't exist.
Well, but I found out that he existed 20 years ago. That means he exists.
Dude,
that's basically what I'm saying.
Are you also a 9/11 truther? You probably are.
That's not exclusive. That's just an ad hominem.
No, but you probably are. All you people are the same.
Yeah, we think there was no planes, no people died on 9/11.
Ad hominem, it doesn't matter.
It's like a government job, like there was an inside job, right? Yes, we guys.
Yeah,
why does that matter?
Bin Laden was a CIA agent.
That's what you guys think, right? There's like bombs.
This is not a relative. This is a red herring fallacy.
No, it's you guys believe this. Like you don't believe we landed on the moon.
Why does that matter?
9/11's an inside job.
Anti-vaxxers, we're crazy up in here.
Right, ask for exclusive evidence that Earth orbits the sun. You start talking about 9/11.
No, I'm just saying these are you.
Can you provide evidence, exclusive evidence that Earth orbits the sun?
The fact that you can't understand that the Earth is a globe, okay?
You can't provide any evidence.
You have the mental capacity of a slug, dude. Okay?
Well, can you instead the ad hominems? Can you just answer? Do you have any exclusive evidence that Earth orbits around the sun?
I have exclusive evidence. How much evidence do you need? Okay,
I need one exclusive evidence.
No matter what I say, it doesn't matter. You think that the stars are reflected off of a firmament, so no matter what I say, your stupid mind can't grasp anything. So what's the point of talking?
You haven't provided a single piece of evidence
No, you said you think there's a firmament. You think the Earth is flat.
What does that have to do with the Earth moving?
The stars are reflecting off of a glass dome.
Let's pretend Earth is a globe.
You don't understand the sunset. You don't understand anything. You don't understand the night sky. Why talk to you? It doesn't make sense to talk to you anymore. It's dumb.
Just say the Earth is a globe, okay? Can you provide exclusive evidence that the Earth is moving around the sun?
It doesn't make any sense to speak to you any further.
Yeah, but science doesn't understand things, sweetheart. They have a lot of assumptions. It's not understanding.
I've been asking people for a long time to provide it. They've never provided it.
Do you believe that the International Space Station is orbiting the Earth with people in it?
That actually proves that we are not orbiting the sun because they account for the angular momentum of the cosmos rotating around the stationary Earth, creating real inertial forces. In your model, there are no real inertial forces. They're fictitious.
What does the International Space Station have to do with the sun?
No, I asked for exclusive evidence that Earth is moving around the sun.
I'm asking if you believe that we orbit the Earth in the International Space Station with people up there.
What does that have to do with Earth orbiting?
I'm just trying to understand your mental capacity. Do you believe we landed on the moon?
How is that relevant?
It's 100% relevant.
I'm asking for evidence that Earth orbits the sun.
Let me ask you a question. If the Earth was flat, as you like to say, why wouldn't we be able to see all the different sides of the moon depending on where you are on the Earth?
Okay, put a paper on or sign on your ceiling, so you have, or hold something like a flat object or whatever above you. Then you will see how you can see all sides of it. But then if you raise it up, you're going to see less. Wait. If you hold it right next to you, a flat object, you can see other sides of it.
I'm talking about the moon.
Yes. Okay. Whatever. Just take any object.
Oh, so you think the
higher you raise it, the less of all the sides you're gonna see. Eventually, you will only be able to see one side the higher you raise it. If the moon is pretty high up, you won't be able to see other sides.
So wait a minute. You think the moon is flat?
You guys are spiraling.
Do you think the moon is flat?
I don't care what the moon's shape is.
Well,
we've only seen one side, so I don't know.
Yeah, why do you think that is? Because it's tidally locked, orbiting the globe.
Okay, just bag the question again.
If the globe were flat, if you were on the other side of the globe, you could see the other side of the moon. But it's not. It's okay.
Why?
That's why you can't see the other side of the moon.
Why?
Why what?
Why would you be able to see the other side of the moon?
Because if the Earth was a flat plane, and and the moon was moving around it, like you say, in a circle, if you were on one side of the flat plane, you'd see one side of the moon, and the other side
So
of the
you're
flat plane,
you're
the other
straw
side.
manning because you're assuming the distance to the moon. Okay.
The distance to the moon, well, it's 230,000 miles, whatever the hell it is.
Okay, according to your model, but I don't claim the moon is physical. I don't know what the moon is, but if it was higher,
God. The moon's not physical.
what?
Wow.
Well, guys, you can't really talk over each other, or else you're not gonna have a really like a coherent conversation.
Yeah, I'm done with
So
this
just try to.
conversation.
Wait, now you're interrupting me.
Well, I
Just try to
apologize.
go one at a time, guys.
You know I'm finished.
Yes, sir.
All right, just try to go one at a time, guys.
I'm
Yes, sir.
done, so goodbye.
Okay, so if you have an object, so like if you draw a picture of a flat surface, like, and then people standing on it, then put a moon on it, and then if you put someone on one side of the paper looking at the moon, they would be able to see over it. But then if you raise the elevation of the moon, you wouldn't be able to see the top of it, so you would only see one side of the moon, right? Do you agree or disagree?
Gave up.
I don't know if he gave up. He, Robert, your mic is muted. Do you have a? You don't want to continue?
As I mentioned, Galatrax, I said I'm not going to continue this. It's a stupid thing to do. It's a waste of time.
I literally just debunked your thing.
No, you didn't.
You agree with what I said?
I don't agree with anything you say because you don't even believe the moon is an object. You think it's some.
I didn't say that. I said I don't know what the moon is.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I don't need to talk about it anymore. If you think you don't know what the moon is, then let's not talk anymore. It's a waste of time.
Oh, wait. When you think about the moon, you're only going by a belief system too. You only think you know it's solid or it's physical. You don't actually know yourself either, besides other
We've
people
been
telling
to the
you. But
moon.
I'm just saying, you think. You haven't
No, I
been.
know.
You haven't
We've
been.
been to the moon.
Nobody
I
here's fucking been.
Excuse me, I haven't been to Maine. It doesn't mean that state doesn't exist.
I have. Right, but people
There's
have.
a
I have.
difference. Sorry.
I
There's
haven't
a difference between can
I haven't
verify
been-
something and haven't verified something. Well, you can verify that you may exist. You cannot verify that the moon is a solid
You can
object.
see it in the sky.
That doesn't mean it's a solid object.
Oh God, goodbye.
That's not true. You can verify that the moon is solid. You
How?
can. Yes, you can.
What about a laser?
I
Does
said
that
how?
mean a laser is a solid object you can walk on?
Okay. What you need to do is it's harder than Maine, but you need to then join the astronaut academy. Now,
Oh,
go
yeah.
do it. All right.
Figured. Well, even then, you still may not go.
Just like if you want to go fight in war and help out the Ukrainian, you're going to have to join military. You see that? It's hard.
Okay, wait. I can answer this question. I'm sorry, because this isn't correct. You know how many military people I know? My family's military as well, and I know a ton of military people that talk to you about life and everything else.
Oh,
Me astronauts I happen to know? I don't even know one.
that's okay.
Even if I met one, you're going to think, wait, how many astronauts have actually been to the moon? Question mark.
Okay, 25. So, but the deal is this.
Out of the entire world?
Yeah, but ma'am, it's just harder. That's all it is.
Pretty much impossible almost out here.
For example, Siberia. Do you know people who have been to Siberia?
Yes, I do actually. He's
Okay,
actually been
alright,
on
no problem.
tours and shit too. I do actually.
Okay, good for you. Do you know people who have been to the Canary Islands?
Not sure. I haven't been, though.
Okay. So that's a no. So the Canary Islands does not exist until you go there, or until you speak to somebody who has been there.
No, there's a difference between can verify something and how to verify
You can
something.
verify.
Yeah.
You can verify the Canary Islands.
When are we going to the moon next?
You
With
can
people on it?
verify the moon. You can verify the moon.
No, listen, you just said 25 people out of the entire world, right, have gone to the moon. And you're going to tell me that I personally, little old me, 42 years old, is going to be able to do something. Or that kid who's in class is going to be an astronaut and get out there and go to the moon. That's bullshit. A may percentage of chance of that happening out of, look, you already said 25. Out of everything and everyone, they're never going to experience that.
No, problem. So what I'm saying to you, Stace, is that 25 people is not zero. You get it?
25 people could also be paid.
Yeah,
easily. And the entire world.
Sure.
Roll in on it,
25 people can be paid. All the people in Siberia can be paid.
Too many people in Siberia. Way too many people. Way more than 25, and I can get there in a plane right now and travel it myself.
Sure. Yes. It's just easier. No problem. But there are people on Earth that can pay every single person in Siberia to say that they've been there. They're billionaires on Earth right now.
Okay, but when are we going to
pay out money
next?
and go themselves and verify it, and they actually verify it within themselves. I cannot put out money right now to do that.
When are we going to the moon next with people? Like, can you name the date? Because we haven't gone to the moon in a while, and we aren't going with people
We
for a
haven't
while.
been to the sun, and the sun's there. I mean, your arguments are so dumb.
That doesn't. I don't deny the sun. I deny what the pseudoscience of the sun, what the sun, you guys claim the sun is made of.
Word salad. We're just trying to tell you.
Okay, name one thing I said that was word salad.
Okay, no. Oh, everything. Okay, but listen, brother. Listen.
All of it. Name one thing that I said that was word salad. That's all.
Okay,
one thing.
I am messing with you, but listen to me. What I'm saying to you is difficulty. It's in your name. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay, but brother word salad. Listen. Difficulty does not falsify something. Numbers of people does not falsify something. That's all we're trying to say to you. You get it?
Yeah, but numbers of people verify something, not nullify. Fucking verify. Excuse me.
It's 238,000 miles away. Not everyone can just jump in a car and go there. Jesus Christ.
And also, the original point was that I said I don't know what the moon is because I haven't been there to verify it. That was the original point.
And that's stupid.
It's a truthful statement. It's the most honest statement you should be giving it to.
That's
You're going to base your opinion. Wait, you're going to base your opinion on 25 people on the entire world. I'm going to base my opinion on myself.
Stacey,
I can see it.
you can
Therefore,
look up
it's
the
real,
sky,
physical, and I can knock on it.
The sky, and you can see it. Okay? You can take
Okay,
a
even times
telescope
I've
and
seen
look at it.
something and it's not really there, just like when you're driving down the road, it looks like it's raining, right? And it's not really raining. Is it really raining?
What are you
Come on,
talking
guys.
about? The mirage?
You see illusions all the time.
If you see a laser on the wall, that doesn't mean it's a physical object there.
Then how does a solar eclipse work if the moon's not there?
Well, how do you know it's the moon?
Oh, Jesus.
Hold on.
You guys,
Anybody with a telescope who looks at the moon is going to have a very, very hard time trying to tell themselves it's not like a rock with a bunch of impacts on it, though. Like, if you really zoom in with just an optical telescope, like, you're going to see, that's probably a rock floating up there. Like, it can't.
it's not hard to determine. It's very easy to see it.
I'm sorry. I could be having a light show happening for me in the sky and people controlling it for me in this world, almost like a Truman Show. I cannot verify that.
No,
That's reality.
See, you're appealing to a difficulty to get there. That's all you're doing. Difficulty does not mean it's false.
The original point was that we don't know what the moon is, not that.
How many?
We know what the moon is. We've been there. We know what it is.
Yeah, right.
That's just beg the question.
How many mathematicians do you know, brother Word?
I don't know what I call them that, but I know a lot of smart motherfucking people. Even a lot of them are Clovers.
I wonder why they let you hang out with them.
The reason they probably want to hang out is because they're actually mature people.
You guys are not mature. You can't even understand what the moon is.
Well, you know you
No, we don't know what the moon is.
Yeah, you don't know.
I don't say that the moon is a physical object. I don't say that it's not a physical object. I don't know.
We don't
Okay?
know.
You don't know.
But we do know it's an empirical observation.
You think you do. I don't.
You know what the sun is?
25 people have been to the moon.
25 go 25.
Yes,
I mean, there's a pretty good distance proof for like when you say the 93 million miles away. And the distance proof is that we measure the amount of energy that we get from the sun. And we can do this by area from solar cells with the conversion rate that we know. And then we can build
So you're assuming the
for the
size
whole
of
area.
the energy that the sun
Hold on.
throws out.
We can just measure the amount of energy we get from it. And we know that we can create the same thing through nuclear. Well, we know what nuclear fusion is and how that light sort of is created and what we would expect the energy output of that to be. And then that would lend credence to the size and also the distance to the sun. And what else would be generating that amount of, if you don't believe it's nuclear fusion with all the whole black body that the sun is, then it has to be some sort of synthetic light, probably made by God in the flat Earth model. But that would still match perfectly the amount of energy that you would model on the heliocentric model, the distance and the size.
Got the size, the distance, and the energy of the sun by reverse engineering it. Okay, so what assumptions are you making when you do that? You're assuming the size of the sun. You're assuming the distance of the sun in order to reverse engineer your.
No. I'm not assuming it.
You're wrong.
You're not assuming any of those things. Those are not assumptions.
Why didn't you guys play? Calm down.
Okay.
Yeah, the point we're trying to make to them is that you cannot use difficulty as an argument. Just because something is difficult, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
That's why we say we don't know.
So
why we say we don't know.
And we are saying it's difficult to get to Siberia, right?
No, we were just talking about how you're measuring the distance to the damn sun. Shit, that's what you guys were just talking about.
Hold on. Well, before we get, I'm just letting you know. We just want to button this thing up. You cannot discount 25 people's experience. You're going to have to go after them. You're going to have to know what they were doing, where they are, who they are. You're going to have to speak with them before you can falsify or give more validness to your argument.
Do you guys believe in the Titanic wreck at the bottom of the ocean?
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, because only less than 250 people have been to the Titanic wreck. Does that mean it doesn't exist?
No, but so here's the thing: you can falsify that the moon landing was fake by looking at the footage and finding flaws that would be impossible if they actually went.
You listen, I can.
Yeah, well, so you say you actually looked at real people, or you just watched anti-flat earthers straw manning what was.
Have you seen Titanic?
What's that?
Do you believe in the Titanic?
I believe it was the Olympic, but that doesn't matter. I believe there's a ship lying at the bottom of the ocean, but
the Titanic.
But you don't know how.
Yeah, I believe there's this.
You haven't been there.
Yeah, the Titanic is at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, I believe it.
You haven't been there, and only less than 250 people have actually traveled there. Does that mean it's fake?
No.
So it's the same for the moon. Hello.
I can say that the moon. I can say that's why I say I don't know what the moon is.
We can say that we don't know what Titanic is. We can say that.
Yeah, you can say that.
Exactly. So, that's what we're trying to say to you. So we're at an impasse here. You get us. So your argument is not valid because people have been to the moon and people have been to the Titanic.
Yes, but if we found something that, like, if they were on a submersible looking for the Titanic, then we saw something that couldn't happen underwater happening there, then that would falsify that was real footage. Same thing with the moon landing. Like, when you see tracks on the moon on the first moon landing, before they even unpacked the rover, or the moon buggy, as people call it, there were tracks there before they even unpacked it on the first moon landing. How does that work?
That is garbage. Can you please give us your information? And remember, we did send missions to the moon before we landed there. You know that, right?
Allegedly.
No. Okay, hold on. We allegedly sent people to Titanic. That's alleged.
Yeah, that's right. You can say that's alleged.
So what we're trying to say to you, we are at an impasse.
Yes. I don't claim what the moon is. I'm saying I don't know.
But you claim Titanic.
There's way better proof for the moon than that.
But I don't care. The moon has nothing to do with the Earth.
You claim Titanic.
We make no claims about the Titanic.
We're not talking about the flat moon or flat sun. We're talking about flat Earth. The Earth is a stationary topographical plane. We've measured it. I don't care what the moon is.
The Earth is a globe. It's 24,000 miles in circumference, and it orbits the sun at 62,000 miles per hour.
You failed to provide
and we have a dozen people in space right now that's orbiting it every 90 minutes, and they're seeing the curvature of the Earth through the cupola. Hold on.
Yeah, there's also gravity politics on the internet.
What I'm saying to you is you spouting your words. I have words that I can say. And
that's all you're doing, Robert.
And guess what? But no, not only that though. But guess what I have? I literally have the people that can verify my information. You have not.
Where is that? Where is that?
Verify that Earth orbits the sun. I've been asking you guys for a long time.
Hold on. We literally, those astronauts can come to you and tell you their experience. Who can come to us?
He's a believer, man.
Who can come to us?
Believer.
Who can come to
He's
us?
here to preach.
Can I interject real quick? There's a way better proof for the moon and what the moon is. Hold on, can I just interject? There's a way better proof for what the moon is. Okay, we all know that countries despise each other. They hate each other, and I'm not even talking about the landings here, as some of you think, right? If there was a thing where a country was lying about it, like NASA, for example, is lying about moon missions and what the moon is, that is like a part of the United States only. A lot of countries obviously agree on what the moon is, and so what you're ultimately saying is there actually is some global government with people colluding together, some small group of people that control all the countries' narratives as well. Because countries do hate each other, they want to kill each other.
They also all signed the Antarctic Treaty together. So,
have you ever read the Antarctic Treaty? Do you know what's in it?
Yes.
The whole reason
that's irrelevant. I'm saying, why can't they collaborate to hide something?
Listen.
They can't. It's too many. They can't even collaborate to go and help Ukraine. They can't even collaborate to help.
Well, yeah, that's part of the script. What you're saying is they acted so well in the movie. That means the movie is real.
Collaborate to protect their borders, but they are extremely 100% efficient on protecting Antarctica. 100%. Not even a.
Okay, so if they act really good in the movie, that means that the movie's real.
Not even a 99.999%. They are 100% efficient in locking down Antarctica.
The whole reason I brought the moon to this guy was I said to him, if the Earth was flat and the moon rotates around the Earth like you said it does, depending on where you are in your flat plane, that you would see different sides of the moon. But
I already destroyed that because it doesn't matter what the moon is.
Because you don't know what
the moon is. You wouldn't see the other side of it because if the moon is high enough, you can't see the other side.
That's not true.
Okay, so take this, draw a picture, draw a line, draw two men on the line.
You think the moon is not a real object, so I just thought there's no reason to argue. That's why I stopped.
Let's grant that the moon is a physical object. It still is not exclusive.
Sphere. The moon is a round sphere in the sky. If what you say is true and it's moving around your flat plane, if it's on one side of the flat plane and you were on the other, you'd see one side and the people on the other side would see the other side.
Why?
Because that's how it works.
That's how it works.
Just saying that's how it works. Okay, do you understand this? Okay, wait. Draw a picture.
Hold on. You said the moon is a physical object. That's what you said. So, therefore, he's right. The people on the one side of the ground, of the flat plane, would see a different thing from the people on the other side of your plane. He's 100% correct. Because you said,
just real quick, guys. Hold on for a second. Just as a point of moderation, please go. If we can go one at a time and try not to interrupt each other. Thank you. That was just interruptions.
Yeah, because thank you. Because you locked yourself into it being a physical object. You're done. So you can't argue any further.
Yes, I can. So
no, you cannot.
So if you have in your picture, so draw a line like draw on your paper a long line extending from one end to the other. Then you have two people, put one on one end, put another on the other end. Draw a moon or whatever, and then you will see, if you draw at a certain altitude, the people, like their angle to it, they will be able to see over it, so they'd see the opposite side or whatever. Now raise the altitude of the moon. Raise the altitude, and you won't be able to see the other side. That's the thing. You guys are straw manning because you're assuming the side.
Oh, so we're seeing the bottom of the moon. We're seeing underneath it. Everybody's looking at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. Yeah. So we're all looking at the bottom of the moon. Everybody heard him? Good.
Yes.
That means. What light is shining on the bottom of the moon? Go ahead.
Okay, so are you saying that it has to be a reflection of the sun, and the sun would not be able to reflect off the moon?
No, brother. What light is shining on the bottom of the moon?
What do you mean? The moon produces its own light, I believe.
What light is shining on the bottom of the moon?
Its own light.
Okay, all right, no problem. All right, check this out. This is where you're running into trouble. Because your moon is extremely high in the air, right? Because your moon is extremely high in the air, you're saying everybody's going to be seeing the very bottom of the moon. We're not seeing the side of the moon when we look at it. That's what you're saying to us, right?
Well, what the side we see would be the bottom of the moon. Okay.
Right. So the moon.
I have an issue with that. Continually
I have an issue with that.
Perfect shadows.
If the moon creates its own light, why does the moon have different faces?
Right.
It's probably like a magnetic cycle. It's probably a magnetic cycle. Like if you look at the center of a Ferris wheel image, like it's completely black.
So you have no idea, and you're making assumptions that you can't prove. You have no idea.
You asked me what it is, but you have to understand falsification is independent of replacement. So let me use this analogy. Okay, you find out your parents adopted you. You found papers. You found DNA tests. You saw it. Those parents aren't your real parents. You come to me and you say, "Look at all this evidence that these aren't my parents." Then I'm like, "Well, who are your real parents?" I won't believe you that those aren't your parents until you provide me.
Yeah, so that was absolutely ridiculous. Sorry it cut short there. Something happened when I tried to charge my device. I don't know, it cut short for some reason. But anyways, that was absolutely ridiculous. The way those ballers were being, like, their arguments were so dumb. My brain was going crazy. Absolutely crazy. It was so bad. So bad. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah, maybe I'll do a breakdown of this stream one day. Just breaking down all the arguments of stupidity from the ballers. I don't know. Yeah, ridiculous.